27 April 1994.
Yeah.
Please tell me about your experiences.
It was interesting.
There was a lot of fear-mongering.
94 was very much amazing.
It was the best feeling ever.
The new South Africa was born.
The early years of my life during apartheid, born into a world that you think is your oyster, only to be told that, well, you know, although you live here, you cannot go to the park over here, you cannot go to the movie house over there, you're not the same as others, becomes rather confusing for a child.
So in school, we stood in protest and protest action for freedom.
You were facing live rounds, you were facing rubber bullets, you were facing tear gas, you were facing batons, sjamboks, and I can tell you I tasted some of those and they're not nice.
The country was in complete chaos. Smoke rose over every township in the country. Thousands of people were on the streets protesting every day. During the states of emergency, 30,000 people were in detention without trial.
It was an injustice that was just not something anyone should be put under.
We were heading for the bloodiest racial conflagration that the world had ever seen.
It couldn't go on much longer. And in 1990, to everyone's shock and surprise, F.W. de Klerk gets up in Parliament and announces Nelson Mandela is going to be released.
The fact that we could hold an election was in itself a surprise. In fact, it was miraculous.
We were going into a territory that we all didn't know whether it's going to work or not.
We were super excited. The atmosphere was electrifying.
The energy was very high.
No matter what it took, people were going to make sure that it worked.
It was the most amazing experience ever.
And it was just that sense of excitement and hope.
And when I saw the joy of every other person in that queue, feeling that same bliss, it was just a moment where we were as one.
And that is the true spirit of South Africa.
And you had enormously long queues snaking around city blocks, snaking around rugby fields.
Some waited for the whole morning until the sun set, but everybody was just there to put his vote.
There was one instance where 93-year-old Granny Ogogo was standing in line. She had stood in the sun the entire day waiting for ballot papers to arrive, and the presiding officer said, "Ma, go home, we'll call you when the ballot papers get here." And she said, "I've waited 93 years. I can wait a little longer."
Whether you were a go-go that couldn't even walk, you were brought in a wheelbarrow, everyone in the community chipped in just to make sure that everyone gets to the voting station. And I was so excited.
And the proof was on the 10th of May in Pretoria at the Union Buildings, when Madiba took the oath of office as the new president. Aircraft and helicopters came over with a new flag. It was a glorious success.
I felt like I've won $1 million, just thinking that I can be me, finally.
Before that, I didn't matter. You know, we didn't matter to cast that vote. We never had a say. And finally, my say was going to change something. And that was the best feeling ever.
Freedom Day meant that everybody has got a right to our constitution.
I was part of that revolution in my small little way.
It's about the interlinking of our cultures and interlinking of our backgrounds to be one. We are one. We are South Africans.
Freedom can never be taken for granted. Freedom is something that you have to fight for every single day.
It's there to show us as people that no matter how different you are, if you put something together and you pull together, nothing is impossible. If that vote never happened, I couldn't be talking to you right now. I couldn't be doing what I'm doing. Without freedom, there's no dignity.